Hello, this is Roland. Welcome. Today I would like to talk about awareness. First of all, where do you find awareness? Can we agree that awareness is a good thing? When you're unaware, people can take advantage. People can sneak up on you. People can pull a fast one. Okay, when you're unaware. When you're unaware, you make mistakes. Like when you're driving down the freeway and you're so lost in thinking you drive right past the exit you should have taken. Or when you're lost in texting and your child comes up with a question and you just don't even hear your child ask the question because you're so lost in whatever you're doing. So you're unaware. When you're unaware, when's the time that you're very likely that you are unaware? For sure. It's when you make something too important. When you make anything too important, you actually lose your humanity. But you become unaware and make mistakes. You know, when you're rushing to be at the head of the line. Oh, here's the classic example. And you hear this all the time. Two people meet each other, or two people are introduced for the first time. And the person is so anxious to say his own name, "Hi, I'm Joe," that he doesn't even hear the other person's name, or doesn't remember it, because he's thinking of getting his own name mentioned, or thinking of making a good impression or something. He doesn't hear the other person's name. You see how making something too important can make you unaware? Well, so that's an example. It could be anything. Making something you're watching on television too important, and you get lost in it. Meanwhile, your food on the stove burns. Okay? Or meanwhile, you were running your bath and it overflows. Or meanwhile, your child comes with a question and you don't hear your child's question. That type of thing. So those are examples of being unaware. Now, the other way that we're unaware is when we're lost in thinking. Thinking takes various forms. Planning, goal setting, scheming. Okay. Also anticipating the future and trying to plan everything you're going to say, you're going to do. Worrying. What about this and what about that? Or reliving the past, either with nostalgia or reliving past glories, or more often reliving past failures. And trying to rearrange the past to make it come out a little bit more to your ego's liking. Or dwelling over and over, why did she do that to me? Why did he say that to me? Why? See? That sort of thing. With resentment. So when you're lost between your two ears, you're not aware. Okay? You're not aware. And it can also take the form of just daydreaming about who knows what. Some kind of fantasies of romance or revenge, like I always say. So you're unaware. Now, the past and the future are constructs that you use to dwell. They're artificial constructs that you are dwelling in. Okay? The past is gone. The real past, the real moment. See, the real moment. You were probably unaware in that real moment. And that's why you made a mistake. That's why you said the wrong thing. That's why you didn't handle something quite right. That's why you tripped on the chair and sprained your knee, because you were unaware in that moment. So now it's the present moment. Right now is the present moment. But if you were lost in thinking about that past moment, resenting it, see, blaming someone for putting the chair there, I'm just making some example. Do you see how now once again you're not living in the present? You're living in an artificial, like a movie. or virtual reality or virtual unreality of the past. So once again, you're not totally there. So in this very moment that you're lost in thinking about a past mistake, you could once again make a mistake, see? And then the future, it's not here yet. See, time moves one moment at a time, like a symphony plays one note at a time. Okay? So this is your moment. Wasn't there a line from a song? This is your moment. I think it's for a wedding. Isn't it? Isn't it a beautiful wedding song that says, this is your moment? Something like that. Well, this is your moment. This is your moment. If you hear me now, if you really hear me, this could be the moment where you begin to wake up from your daydream world and come back to reality. Now, reality is where God is. God's light of truth. He dwells in reality. God lives in reality. He made everything. Everything around you He made. And He also made time and space. And this moment is His creation. So you're living. Wasn't it Paul that says, in Him we live and move and have our being? So beautiful. It's a beautiful way of saying it. I think it's the King James translation of what Paul said. I'm sure it was beautiful in whatever language he wrote in. And I'm sure it was beautiful in Greek and Latin and Hebrew. And it's beautiful in English. In Him we live and move and have our being. Okay? Well, so this is your moment. Okay? So you want to live this moment. Not be lost in the past or worrying about the future, but live in this moment. Now, God dwells in this moment, and also His light. His light, in which you can see, in which you can discern. Okay? You know how you can see something and you just see it wordlessly? You just see it wordlessly, and you don't even know how you know, but you just know. You just see something, and you know. You had that when you were a little child, too. It has nothing to do with thinking. See, there's nothing wrong with thinking when it flows from discerning, when it flows from intuition, when it flows from seeing and realizing. See, like Einstein. See, through his intuition, he realized something. He realized it. And then he thought about it. Okay? But first he realized it. See? So that's what you need to do. You need to realize God's light is there, in which your soul sees. The light shines through your soul. See, these are ways of talking about. The light shines through your soul. And then your soul can see, can discern, can understand. Okay? So, do you understand, like in the Bible, it talks about the Word made flesh? If you're living in the present, the now present, the eternal now, and your soul is receptive to God's light, just like a plant. Plants are receptive to the light of the sun. See, it's a very good analogy. The way you are living right now is like a plant that's put in a closet. You're living in the closet of your mind, of your imagination, a dark room without light. All you have is the ersatz virtual light of your imagination. Okay? Thinking about the past, you're worrying about the future, or planning and scheming. Well, but if you're in the present, then God's light shines through your soul, and then you can discern, you can see the next move, the next step, the next word. See, even now as I'm sitting here and I'm talking, I haven't pre-planned what I'm going to say. I don't have any script. I don't have a speech. I don't have anything planned. I'm just talking. And where does it come from? How do these words come together? I don't know, but they do. Okay? So I'm in the present, talking to you from this good place, in the present, close to God's light. Okay? And I'm exhorting you to live in the present, and I can help you. See, that's why I have my meditation. That's why I make all these videos and write books, because I can offer you some clues. But you have to do it. You have to do it yourself. I can't do it for you. And it won't do you any good just to read about it, or just to hear about it, or just to talk about it. You actually have to find the present, which is very easy. And one way of finding the present is to realize what's blocking you from the present. First of all, you have to be willing to know the truth. Some people don't want to know the truth. They never want. Do you know anyone who never wants to admit that he's wrong, or never wants to admit that she's wrong? They're self-righteous. They would never admit they're wrong, and so they block themselves from God's light, because God's light would show them that they're wrong. But if you see that you're wrong in God's light, you just wordlessly see that you're wrong, and you don't resent seeing it. See? Then you can get better, because now you're seeing the truth in the light instead of hiding. See? Or being unaware. So in the present, in God's light. Okay? Now the other thing, I was talking about the analogy of the plant. Plants are receptive. So if you want to know the truth, okay, and you yearn for the truth, you've known a lot of liars in your life, haven't you? You have. They've lied to you. They've taken advantage. They fooled you. See, maybe they hurt you. See? Well, or they betrayed you. Okay? But you made a mistake. You hated them. You resented them. See? Judged them and hated them. That was your mistake, because resentment and judgment also cut you off from God's light. Because God's light is also love. The plant is receptive of God's light. It loves God's light. See, it extends its leaves up. It wants to have God's light. I said God's light. It's a slip of the tongue. I mean the sunlight. Because it's an analogy. But it's a very good analogy. It's actually a correspondence. It's more than an analogy. The plant loves to receive the sun's light. And with that light then, it makes the plant somehow with the light. And water and carbon dioxide. It makes beautiful flowers and leaves and fruit. It makes beautiful, wonderful things with that light. So, can you see how that light translates into tangible good? It can be the same with you when you receive God's truth, God's light. Then you will have wisdom. And that light then becomes you. That what you get from that light, what you download from that light, then becomes you. And then you become more and more in the image of that light, so that everyone that sees you knows that you love God's light. See? In fact, you shine forth in the world. And it's obvious that you love God's light. See? So now the present. So here's what you need to see. First of all, what I would like to share with you now is very simple. You can begin to experience the present, but for you to get all the good from it, and then to move forward and start getting better instead of getting worse, then you have to want the light and be willing to admit the truth, even if it shows that you're wrong. Okay, and it's a little painful. Nevertheless, you're willing to admit when you see that you're wrong, that you hated your dad, or you're impatient with your kids, or you're phony, or whatever it is. Okay, so you have to be willing to see the truth and bear a little bit of pain, the pain, or it can be a lot of pain, but it's short-lived. It doesn't last long because God's already forgiven you. But you have to reconcile with Him. There has to be a process of reconciliation. It's called repentance. See, read the Scripture. Read the story of the prodigal son. Jesus' parable about the prodigal son. It's very beautiful. You have to reconcile. You have to come back. You have to petition for another chance. Not in words, but not emotionally. But, well, yes, possibly emotionally, if it's true remorse. regret, and it's a true yearning for God, then your soul's yearning, and then your body's yearning also. Okay? See, then the whole you is yearning for God. He answers such things. He does. He answers the sincere cry of the soul, just like a mom responds to the cry of her infant. See. So now, let's say, if you now become so that you want to know the truth, and you see the error of resenting truth, see, you resented it. You didn't want to admit you were wrong either. See, so you resented the truth. Now you have to see that's a mistake. Okay. Okay, so now you have had a little change of attitude. Now you can live in the present. You can become aware of your hands, like I say in some of my videos. You have to watch them. It's very simple. You just become aware of your hands. Okay. Just notice your hands. Right now I'm noticing my hands as I'm talking. My hands begin to feel a little tingly. A little bit tingly. Kind of a gentle tingle. And also perhaps warm. A little bit tingly warm. See, it's very delicate. See, and it feels good. And so now you're in the present. And you're experiencing the warmth of the present. See, it's extending through your soul to your body, all the way to the tips of your fingers. And don't you think that's good for your body? See, what you've been responding to all along is stress of the world. See, that it became stress because you reacted. You became totally out of direction, and so you were totally stressed by everything. But if you could learn now to begin to respond to the inner light, and to feel its presence, and to sit quietly and calmly in God's light, bask in His love and in His warmth, and feel the gentle tingle in your hands. Okay, then you're almost there. You may be there already. Then you can add to it closing your eyes and just watching the inside of your eyelids, just observing the inside of your eyelids. Close your eyes, observe the inside of your eyelids. You see a little particles of light, little patterns of light there. At the same time, you're continuing to be aware of your hands. So you do both. Have your eyes closed and observe the little particles on the inside of your eyelids, a little light, a little glow of light. And so now you see what has happened. You're not lost in thought as you're observing that. The light, you're actually observing the light. Okay? Spiritual light. And you're feeling spiritual light in your hands as they become warm. And you can sense your whole body is somehow centered, calm. Okay? So you can see the light. And the light cancels out negative thoughts and the negative imagination and the vivid phantasms of imagination that are always trying to distract you and take you away from the present moment, aren't they? See, they're not your friend. You always thought, when you were younger, why you could be a conquering hero or heroine in your daydreams. But now as you're getting older, you see that all they are doing is distracting you, taking you away, trying to carry you away from the present and from the presence in the present. So I think I've said enough. Okay? You can very easily be aware of your hands, as I said, and also, if you like, practice closing your eyes and observing the inside of your eyelids. See, if you do it right, with the right attitude, it's simple to do those, and they're good in and of themselves. But with the right attitude, you'll start to change for the better. Your whole life will change for the better. It's like magic. It's God's magic. See, you've always tried to make things happen yourself. You're clumsy, clawing, grasping, voracious, hungry, angry. Ego has always been trying to make things happen for yourself. Now you have to learn to wait upon the Lord to sit quietly and and enjoy the present moment and his presence in the present. My name is Roland.